Question for people in other countries. Do you want to visit us anymore? Like, are we even a destination on your vacation list?
This goes out to all my people who have plans to come to the United States or want to come travel to the United States and are like on the fence about it and don't know what to do with everything going on here. Don't come. My recommendation is to 100% boycott this country. Do not spend any money here. Do not plan any travels here. Show them that the world does not need the United States because they don't. So please just boycott. Boycott.
There was a time America was the go-to place for everyone. Everybody wanted to visit the US. But now, I don't understand what is happening with everything that is currently happening in the US. So many people are advised not to go to the US anymore, not to do anything, okay, than stay back in their countries or travel elsewhere.
Catastrophic and unprecedented $12.5 billion loss for tourism. You heard me correctly, $12.5 billion loss just in 2025. This is going to be catastrophic for the United States of American tourism. People are not coming for business travel. They are not coming for conventions. They are not coming here for vacation. They are not coming here because of the trade war, because we are now actually on a national human rights watch list. You heard me correctly. For the first time ever, the United States of America is a danger to human rights. States like Florida, California, Nevada, specifically Las Vegas, and other major tourist cities are going to suffer devastating consequences. Have you changed your plans to travel for work, personal, or business to the United States or in between states? This is going to be an economic disaster we may never recover from.
America's tourism crisis nobody's talking about. Foreign visitors are abandoning the U.S. in record numbers, and it's costing billions. Oxford Economics predicts an $8.5 billion drop in international visitor spending this year, while the World Travel and Tourism Organization estimates an even more alarming $12.5 billion loss. The proof? Flight bookings to the U.S. between May and July have already plummeted by over 10%. This isn't just a blip, it's a trend with massive economic consequences. While other destinations flourish, America is losing its appeal to global travelers. What's driving this exodus? And can the U.S. tourism industry recover before it's too late?
Don't travel to the U.S. and don't buy American goods. I understand the gravity of that request coming from me. And I fully understand that there are a lot of people that can't do it. So let me explain myself. If you're watching this and you don't know who I am, I'm an American who's living abroad in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and one who is fearing for the state of the States at the moment. But as the world watches the States, there is a sense of absolute disgust with what's happening. And there's a sense of hopelessness and futility as we watch the United States of America become the Democratic People's Republic of America. This is something that we can do to directly affect what's going on. First is, don't travel to the States. This is especially true if you are not a white person. I hate to say it that way, but it is very true. Migrant hate is at an all-time high. And just watching it and hearing the stories, I do not feel like it's safe for you guys to go. But besides that, if you go to the States, all the money that you spend on that holiday eventually goes back into the economy and then supports the administration. Because all that revenue earned on tourism gets taxed. And all that tax money goes straight to you-know-who. Another thing that we can do here is to boycott American goods. I know that that's a big ask. In some places, that's not going to be as big an issue because they're getting tariffed and all these goods are becoming so expensive you don't want to buy them anyway. But in a place like Aotearoa, the tariffs don't necessarily affect us as much here, so some American goods are going to be cheaper, especially when we're having kind of a cost of living crisis here. But where you have the option, please try to avoid American goods if you can. I'm just as guilty of this. There's so many vices I have that come out of the States. But one of the only things you can do is hit him in the pocket. One of the main reasons that he got in was on promises of making things cheaper and more affordable and creating American jobs. All while completely forgetting that his biggest donors, that the biggest part of American industry comes from world trade and international money. Look, I know it's a big ask. I really do. And it's going to be hard for me too. And I'm not going to be able to give up all American goods. But where possible, as a world community, let's make a stand as best we can and say that we're not happy with how he's treating the global community. Feel free to disagree with me. That's the beauty of the internet. But it's just something to think about as we're going through this, that this has been the first 3 months and we've got 4 years of it. And he so far has gotten away without thinking that he has any consequences. And all we can do is try to give him some consequence. Because a great teacher of mine has told me there's only 2 ways that people learn anything. That's wisdom and consequence. And if you won't listen to wisdom, you have to face the other one.
Over time, we've seen some influencers who actually travel to other countries who are US citizens telling people do not come to the US, boycott the US, boycott US products, just boycott. And over time, we've seen people actually do boycott this country. Reason being that the whole mass deportation that is happening in the country, everyone is scared. Who knows if I'm going to be profiled? Who knows if my going there will cause me problems? Who knows what will happen if at all I get to stay there and probably want to extend my visa? Who knows what will happen? Just so many who knows, okay, coming in the mind of people. And that's the reason why it's as if a lot of people have decided not to go to the US anymore. And when you go to the airport, it is empty. Like there was this guy that did a video where you will literally see that the tourist side was literally empty, just few persons there, and a lot of people have decided to try out other countries other than the US.
So y'all know them travel advisory reports that the United States loves to push out, basically telling us to not go to certain places because they're violent or it's not safe. Yeah, so the Department of Commerce has now issued a report showing a growing list of countries advising their citizens to not come to the United States, to not come and visit the United States. Yeah, now we are not the safe country. So I'm reading from an article that you can find on Forbes.com, right? So it says that the United States government reported a double-digit overall drop in international arrivals last month, with much bigger losses coming from Canada, Mexico, and lucrative Western Europe markets, suggesting foreign tourists are staying away in significant numbers due to the tariff backlash and even harsher immigration tactics. So I'm just going to read off some of these statistics. So in the Caribbean, they have seen a 26% drop from visitors and tourists. Africa, 10% drop. South America, 11% drop. Central America, 24% drop. Asia is a 1% drop. And now the two largest governments, or the two largest European markets, the United Kingdom is down 15%, and then Germany is down 29%. These governments are telling their citizens to not come over to the United States, not visit the United States, in fear that ICE agents will detain their citizens and not bring them back to their native land, which we see is the case here in this administration. If they come here, God forbid, get detained by ICE, ICE will not allow them to prove that they're visiting, will not allow them to prove their visas. They will most likely send them to a detention center and then ship them over to El Salvador's mega prison, just like they did with that teenage New York Bronx kid that's actually from Venezuela. Instead of deporting him to his native country, they deported him to the mega prison. Yeah. That's what they don't want to happen. Because if that happens, there's no way for people, their actual family and their government to even be made aware of what's going on, because ICE agents will not inform nobody. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was actually questioned on this yesterday during a press conference, to which she said, I haven't even seen the report. I haven't even seen the report. As the White House Press Secretary, is that not your job? Is that not your job to be aware and to manage the reputation of the government? Instead, she decided to say, while I haven't seen the reports and I would have to read it in order for me to effectively comment, I do believe that the administration that we're in right now is so much safer and so much better than the one that we were in previously 4 years ago. So I don't know why they would be advising their citizens to not come over here. It's because of this administration's policy and their harsh immigration tactics. That's why. These are tourists that often have to come over here on a visa. ICE agents are not allowing people to even prove their legal status. Why the fuck would anybody come over here? Just so you know, the United States makes $2 trillion in tourism. $2 trillion that we're starting to lose now. And that $2 trillion is tied up in the United States GDP, which is part of the reason why the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. That goes down. I think you know where I'm going with this. So now, thanks to this administration and all of its dumb policies, we are facing a possible recession, inflation. The entire world globally is laughing and mocking our democracy and our government. We are now starting to lose profit that we make on tourism. And as a New York City native, I'm not gonna lie, we could use a little less tourism here in New York City. But overall, for American economy, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. Maybe if this administration wasn't too worried with trying to rack up and rally as many free slaves to ship over to that mega prison in El Salvador, we wouldn't have to be dealing with this. I'm just saying.
Right now, you already understand the main reason why a lot of people are boycotting the US. And yes, tourism is plummeting right now. just because of this whole, eyes raise and all that. People are scared of being picked up, right? Eyes might just show up at your doorstep or show up where you are walking on the street or probably buying something or anything. So people are just scared that eyes might get to pick them up. And now to think that the US of all countries will go into the whole advisory list of people not to travel. Like countries will literally tell their citizens not to go to the US. I am so shocked to see that video. Like, how possible is that? How can the US get into that ban list of some countries telling their citizens not to go? And we all know there is that reason. That is because they are scared for them. Okay, you might be picked by ICE or anything, and before you know it, you might find yourself in ICE custody or detention camp as somebody who came into the country illegally. Meanwhile, you just came for tourism. So I guess that's the reason why a lot of people have decided to stay back in their home country or probably travel to other country. Now, my question is, people who actually does tourism for a living, the hospitality industry, how are they coping this period? Because they are the ones who actually are going to face the whole backlash or after effect of this particular travel ban and people boycotting the US right now. Because if you ask me, if you're in the hospitality industry, somehow if tourists are not coming into the country, you are going to be facing a whole lot of setback, just because you are not getting customers as it used to be before. You used to make a particular amount of money, and right now people are boycotting the country and no more people coming in. So somehow you might not get exactly what you need, right? And to think that a lot of them, right, actually voted for this. You voted for people to get deported, not knowing that somehow you will also feel the impact of that deportation, of the mass ICE raids and the whole ICE detention and ICE camp raids and putting people in ICE custody, alligator Alcatraz and all that. While a lot of people are facing the whole after effect of people boycotting the US, there are people who keep wearing the whole alligator Alcatraz t-shirts, wearing all those things that will even make people to get scared more, to the fact that, people are actually supporting what is happening to immigrants in the country. So a lot of people will be like, who is going to speak for me if I'm not from this country? So the best thing is for me to boycott the country. I guess that's everything that we're seeing right now, right? The airport is empty. People are boycotting the US. People are no longer making money. I think there was this creator I saw go to a particular popular place in the US, a popular city in the US, and they usually have the nightlife, but the place was really empty. He walked straight all through the street and yet couldn't find like a lot of people like he used to be. He wasn't bubbling like he used to be and all that. And that's how everybody gets to know that he becoming very seriouser than anyone could think, okay? But yeah, I would love to hear what you all think about this video and people boycotting the US and that man saying people boycott US products. Do people really boycott US products? Okay, I would really love to hear what you all have to say, and to think he's actually an immigrant in another country. So he's speaking up as an immigrant in another country who happened to be a US citizen. Well, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comment. Let's have that conversation. Please do want to subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so that more people can see it. I look forward to seeing you all on my next video. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Bye.